Wow, that was phenomenal. What's up, everybody? Today I'm here to review The Mandalorian Episode 8 Redemption. So this is the finale. We're finally here. And I'm going to start like all my other reviews, just my overall thoughts. And when I get to the spoilers, I'll let you know just in case if you haven't seen it yet. So this episode was directed by Taika Waititi. And it was action-packed, and it had a great combination that really works for a season finale. For instance, it had payoffs, things that were set up at the beginning of the season did pay off over here. It was heartfelt, it had great action, and it sets up season 2. So it sets up the villain, it sets up what the Mandalorian might be up to. It was just, wow, really, really awesome. I don't think this was still my favorite. There are so many good episodes that it's hard. Maybe I'm gonna have to sit down and think which one was my favorite. But this was indeed a very strong way to go. There's a lot of great action, a lot of great things. It was just awesome. And it just makes me think, what would the new sequel trilogy be if Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were the ones in charge? Because I feel like these guys, they really get Star Wars, this really feels like Star Wars, and it really gets me excited talking about it. In fact, the one thing I was thinking, oh my god, we have to wait so long for season 2, and I don't want that. Every week I was so excited to see what was going to happen next. So I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni really proved themselves worthy of, a Star Wars trilogy. Anyways, continue on this episode. It was, again, a great way to end the series. It had great pacing. There's a couple of things that it was not 100% perfect, but it's very forgivable, taking the fact that other things are really like awesome in this episode. And I guess that's all I can say without spoiling. And go check The Mandalorian out, because it is definitely worth it. Okay, let's get into the spoiler territory. You have been warned. Okay, right off the bat, we have these two troopers, these two idiots that just kidnapped Baby Yoda, right? And also we have the confirmation that Quill is indeed dead, which is very sad. I was actually expecting maybe he wasn't dead, but yes, he is dead. And then these troopers, they really make sure to they make you hate them, because they are hitting Baby Yoda and like really strong. I couldn't freaking believe that. I believe that every single person that was watching that scene was like, oh, it was like 1, 2. And then the other one comes and hit him again. I couldn't believe that. That was rough to watch, So I was not upset when they were destroyed and killed by IG-11. In fact, I thought they went way too easy. They should have suffered way more. But anyway, so IG-11 actually comes to the rescue. But before I get to that, I wanted to say, I thought those two troopers, when they were having that conversation, it was very interesting, because so far I feel like every time we see stormtroopers, we always think of them as these idiots, mindless, people. But these two guys kind of talking, it felt interesting. It felt like they're just doing their job, and they just like following orders, even though they're not very good people, because seriously, they punched Baby Yoda. One of them, Baby Yoda, even bites them, and then he goes, I can't believe he did that. Oh my god. But anyways, IG-11 comes back, right? And the confirmation here is that he is indeed a nurse droid now. He's not, he's not out there to kill people. He's out there to protect, which is really cool. And this just like brings back a point that Quill made on the other episode, that droids are not evil. They're just, they do whatever you program them to. Which also kind of pays off later with The Mandalorian, which was awesome. So I really enjoy IG-11. In fact, this episode was IG-11's episode, and perhaps that's why it is called Redemption, because he definitely redeemed himself. In the first episode, the second episode, he was trying to kill Baby Yoda. That was in the first episode, right? And here he's protecting him, and very well, doing a great job. But one thing I didn't quite understand is, how did he get to the trooper so fast? Because the troopers were on the speedster. really quite didn't really understand that, but those things for me, like, this is nothing. It's so forgivable because there's so many awesome things in this episode. So then he steals the speedster, right, gets Baby Yoda, and he goes back to the city. And that's the other thing. I was like, no, run away with Baby Yoda. But okay, it makes sense. He goes over there and he's basically destroying every single trooper. That was pretty awesome. And he also saved the Mandalorian. He saved Cara Dune. He saved, you know, all of them. And then we have this awesome battle scene, you know, where you have the Mandalorian going outside and then explosions. And it's just, IG-11 really proves to be a great, great babysitter. Let's put it that way. But then at the end of that scene, White, the Mandalorian gets hurt pretty badly, you know. Cara Dune actually has to carry him inside. He seems to be passed out. And a lot of very interesting things happen here, right? First, we have a trooper with this fire gun that is pretty much burning everything, because Moff Gideon, which is already a pretty scary villain. I think that the latest episode really established him that he's not playing around pretty well. You know, it's not like that joke from The Last Jedi where you have people yelling and making fun. No, this guy means business. He is scary. He just gives the order to burn them, something like that, right? Burn them. And then you have this trooper, right, with red on his face, go burning the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, what are they gonna do there? But then, of course, while IG-11 is finding his way in through the sewage, Baby Yoda has to use the Force to protect them, and it was absolutely freaking awesome. You know, Baby Yoda is kind of like creating this bubble to protect them, and he throws the fire back on the trooper, and he's just like, I was like, that was just, it was awesome, you know. And every time that Baby Yoda is using the Force, it's just like, there's something so magical about it. And of course, he falls, right? And then the Mandalorian is hurt pretty bad, and Cara Dune wants to take his helmet off. And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, is Baby Yoda going to heal him? But this is not The Rise of Skywalker. Thank goodness the people behind this show have common sense and logic. So we understand, you know, you can't overdo it. So Baby Yoda is too tired or too worn out to actually go and heal the Mandalorian, because it takes a lot. And of course, there was no way he could be able to do it. So I thought that was a brilliant idea to do that, because it really raises the stake, because it makes you think, oh my God, is he gonna die? No way. I know the show is called The Mandalorian, but could become about another Mandalorian, of course, but I don't know. But it plays with your imagination, even though he's supposed to be the main character. I think it was very interesting that Baby Yoda was too worn out and too tired to be able to save him or heal him. It was great. So then IG-11 is able to make a hole right into the sewage, and then they escape over there, but IG-11 stays behind to help the Mandalorian. And then we have an amazing scene where IG-11 tells him, I have to remove your helmet. And I was like, are they gonna do that? And they did it. So we finally see Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian. You know, he's pretty hurt, you can tell. Mando tells him, no living thing has ever seen me without the helmet on. And IG-11 tells him, well, I am not a living thing, so you're not breaking your code, which is true, you know. So he heals him, and he's put this liquid on him, which I was thinking, what magic liquid is that? You know, probably the same one they baited Luke. And I don't know, it's just, there's so many really cool details happening here. And I thought that was a very interesting scene. I really enjoyed that. And then, of course, the Mandalorian is rescued by IG-11, and the thing that happens here is that the Mandalorian really understands the lesson that Quill had told him earlier on, you know, in the other episode. Yeah, these droids are just set up to do whatever you program them. They're not evil, you know. So more even happens towards the end, right? I'll get there. But then he goes and meet that lady that does the armor. She's still sticking around, but there was a really sad scene where you have a bunch of Mandalorian armor and helmets, which really shows what happened there after he left with Baby Yoda. A bunch of them died, some of them were able to escape, and it's a very interesting scene, right? And then when he's down there, this lady tells him that Baby Yoda is a foundling. So, and there is also a hint about the Jedi, and I was like, oh my god, yes, I want to hear about that. And they call them like something wizards, space wizards, and I was like, that is so interesting. All of the stuff is so interesting. So that kind of sets up season 2 to the Mandalorian kind of looking for Jedi, people that are force sensitive. And in my mind I was like, please, can you imagine if he runs into Luke? Because Luke it's around now, that would be really awesome. Even if they bring in Mark Hamill to do a quick cameo, a de-aging thing, that would be really nice. And I was like, oh my god, I wonder who, but maybe not. Maybe they might introduce other Jedi, but at this time there are not many around. It's mostly Luke, so that would be awesome to see. So I really enjoy that. And that scene alone, it was a short scene, but just so much going on. She talks about Baby Yoda being a foundling, and you need to take him back to his species, and until then you are its father, and I was like, oh my god. I mean, we already knew he already took that role anyways, but that was really cool to watch. And she also a pretty badass fighter, because she doesn't want to leave with the Mandalorian. Fine, they all leave anyways, but she stays behind and she kicks ass. She really, like all these troopers, should just kill all of them with ease. But troopers are a bunch of idiots anyways. Continue on. And I also forgot to mention that on this episode we also find out the Mandalorian's real name, which in fact didn't really stuck with me, or I still don't remember. I had to Google it. It's Din Djarin, something like that. I don't know. I'm still going to call him Mandel, because that's easier. But now his real name was revealed, as well as what actually happened. So we actually have the full length of the flashback, and that was very interesting. So we find out that the Mandalorians were the one that actually rescued him when he was small. He was not really born in Mandalore, but I believe that we kind of already knew it, but it was nice to see the full story. But that's how he gets to become a Mandalorian, which is a nice thing, because it's kind of how the Jedi work. You don't have to be born in a certain place. You can just become a Jedi if you have some certain skills. But in the case of the Mandalorian, I guess you need to be trained, and you can always become a Mandalorian. So that's kind of interesting. I really enjoyed finding all of that out, and I was like, that's awesome. But going back to the sewage, right? So they get to this lava river, and they meet this another R2 unit that has limbs, and I was like, that was so, you never seen that. And they're inside this boat, and they find a way out. But before they reach the way out, there's a bunch of troopers over there. They're kind of surrounded, and IG-11 kind of just tells them, I need to sacrifice myself, I need to self-destruct, which is another payoff that goes back from season 1, when he was always saying as a joke, I'm about to self-destruct, and the Mandalorian, no, do not self-destruct. But in this time here, the only way they can be saved over there is if he really indeed self-destructs. And he even says, there's no way that I get out of this alive and Baby Yoda gets out of this alive. So in order for him to be saved, I'm a nurse now, that's my job, that's my duty. And the Mandalorian is a little bit kind of his voice, and Pedro Pascal did such a good job there. Like, his voice was a little bit, don't do that, like, not like that, but he was basically saying, you don't have to do that. And the nurse droid tells him, I could tell from your voice that you're sad about it, don't be sad. And he was like, I'm not sad about it. And it was a brilliant way to do it. I thought it was also a cute way to say goodbye to IG-11. It was definitely his episode. He Taika Waititi plays the droid's voice, so that was really cool. So then IG-11 sacrificed himself, and they are able to get out of there. But the episode is not over, because on a TIE fighter comes Moff Gideon, right? and he's just like shooting at them, and I was like, oh my god, how are they gonna get out of that? But this time we get to see the Mandalorian, you know, Mando using his jetpack, which is also something that that lady that does the armor gave it to him, right? And I was like, oh, I actually didn't think he was going to use the jetpack on this particular episode. I thought this would be something that would happen in the future, but no. I mean, I guess whatever IG-11 gave, whatever, you know, liquid that was, it really helped him heal, and he put that on, and then he boom, went up and went to fight the TIE fighter, and indeed he's able to, you know, break its wing, and then he fell. And we see the Mandalorian saying goodbye to Cara Dune, which also we learn her name, which I can't remember, Cara Cillian Dune. I'm still gonna call her Cara Dune. We also learn her full name. And another interesting thing is that Moff Gideon knows all of their names and knows them. So that was very, very interesting and very intriguing. And we even learned something even more intriguing that connects to the Clone Wars if you saw the animation. I'll get to that point. But anyways, the Mandalorian said goodbye, said, I need to go find Baby Yoda species, you know, that's my mission now. And Cara Dune said, well, I'm gonna stay here now that we defeated these troopers, right? I'm just gonna stay here. I was like, oh, okay. So yes, he leaves, and then we have a sad scene where he's burying Quill. That was kind of sad. I was like, oh, really? He's really dead, guys. That was a big bummer. But we see Moff Gideon getting out of the TIE fighter using a dark saber. And now, if you don't know what that is, you can see that, I think on episode 2 of the Clone Wars, is it episode 2? There is, it's basically a Mandalorian that became a Jedi. He had a dark saber, but I'm trying to think, is this going to connect to the animation, you know? Because if it does, on Rebels, which I haven't finished yet, I know that the Mandalorians often take their helmets off. So I'm a little bit confused if they're trying to connect this to the animation. But the Clone Wars are not the same as the Rebels, so I don't know. But we shall see. But anyways, perhaps if they're not going to connect, they might even go back to it, because we also know the Clone Wars will return to finish, right? Because Dave Filoni is also working on that. So dark saber, that was like, what? That was really cool. And that was pretty much how the season ends. So like I said, it sets up the villain for season 2. Now we all want to know how the hell this guy has this dark saber. That means that how does he have this? We also need to find out, are we going to learn more about Yoda's species? Are they going, you know, is the Mandalorian going to be able to find where are these species from? Is the Mandalorian going to run into Luke Skywalker or any of our beloved heroes? You know, Leia, Luke, Han, all of them are around. And I mean, I don't know. Or perhaps they're going to continue to work with new characters and maybe use small little cameos here and there. But I gotta say, great job by Taika Waititi. I thought that it was indeed a very, very nice episode. I think I still liked episode 3 the most, the one with all the other Mandalorians showed up. And I think the latest one was also a really good episode. It's hard to choose. As a whole, brilliant series. I'm very happy. I really wish that, you know, Jon Favreau gets involved with Star Wars more, and, you know, because, you know, right now it's way too late for these movies of what they did to the Skywalker saga per se. But, you know, you can always not take that as into consideration. That's how I decided to do. I only count the first 6 films, and I really enjoy The Mandalorian now. But anyways, guys, that is my reaction, my review to The Mandalorian episode 8. What did you think about it? Drop your comments down below. Are you excited for season 2? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think, is there a chance for us to see Luke Skywalker? You know, they could really make up to the fans by bringing Luke Skywalker doing some really crazy stuff. I would love to see that. Are we going to see anything about Yoda's species? Let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.